Hello, welcome back to Culinary Jazz. What are we going to be doing today? Well, I've been tussling with what to do, maybe more knife skills, more about soups and stocks, maybe more something to do with bread, yeast breads, rich doughs, um, lean doughs, baker's math again, go over that again. We're going to do all that, but my wife said she wanted to make some muffins, and we had a lot of bananas that are turning. I had a whole bunch in the freezer, which I've already beat up, and I'm going to add these to them, and I'm going to beat them up, and then we're going to go from there. It's culinary jazz. It's art. Think of me as a big head of hair. I'm Bob Ross. It's your world. It's your kitchen. You do what you want. So I got out just about everything I have to see what I can do. I have no recipe. I have no basic plan in mind, except that I know what the process is and what needs to go into it. Basically, muffins are quick breads. Quick breads are basically cakes. Quick breads and cakes, could go quick breads slash cakes, are all chemically leavened. There are no yeast involved in this. Not just chemical, meaning either baking soda, baking powder, or it can even be done just by aerating with egg whites and things like that. But this is baking powder. So I'm sure everyone out there has used baking powder. I don't know if you know what it is. Baking powder is a combination of an acid and a base. Baking soda is the base. The acid could be many different things. Look on it, but it doesn't much matter. And then to keep it from acting in here, they put cornstarch in it. So remember, there's some cornstarch in this. And then this is double acting. Double acting, the old baking powder is what they used. It would only react to heat. This reacts to moisture and heat. So if you ever make something with baking powder and you get it all done, pancake batter or something, and you watch it and it's bubbling, that's because it's double action. So that's what we're doing today. We're going to make the muffins. So what I've got out is I've got sugar, brown sugar, chocolate chips. Oh, back to brown sugar. What's brown sugar? Brown sugar is sugar. What's in it? Molasses. If you don't have any brown sugar and you've got, regular granulated sugar and you have molasses, just put, per cup about a teaspoon of molasses and mix it up, and guess what you have? Brown sugar. You want dark brown? Put 2 teaspoons in. Okay, so I got sugar, brown sugar. I got some coconut flakes and some coconut flour. Flour. This is flour over here. I have bread flour and whole wheat flour. I don't have any all-purpose flour, which I should have, and I don't. So when you talk about, you go to see all these flours in the market, supermarket now, the almond flour, coconut flour, they're not flour. They should just call them powder because they're not flour. Flour contains gluten. Flour is made from wheat. Only wheat contains gluten. And we've talked about that before, but I'll go through it again on another video. We'll talk about gluten because it can go on about gluten for hours and the different types of flour. So the flour I have is bread flour, which is not what I want to use in a muffin. So what do I do about that? Well, I have the whole wheat flour, which is kind of the opposite of bread flour. It's low in gluten. Bread flour is high in gluten. So if I were to use equal parts, it's going to be like an all-purpose flour. But the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of the coconut flour. No gluten. The almond flour, if I had it, no gluten. So you're not going to have that, you don't want that toughness. You don't want that bite. You want it in bread. You don't want it in a muffin or a cake. So I'm winging this. I have not written anything down. It's just my common sense and my basic knowledge of how this goes. If you've cooked at home a lot and you made muffins a lot, you have an idea. What is it? There's a lot of thought in this about how to do it. Well, there's several types of mixing methods. I stick pretty much with creaming. Creaming is just simply the fat and the sugar being beat up till it aerates a little bit, which adds some loft and aeration to it. And you beat that up, and then you mix the dry ingredients together, and then you alternate the dry with the wet. Well, here we got bananas. Usually you think about milk. I'm not putting any milk in. The reason I'm not putting any milk in is because I got bananas. All fruits are between 80 and 90% water. So these bananas, I'm going to have maybe 4 or 5 cups of bananas. That's a lot of water. So if I use milk, which is 82 or 83% water, it's the same thing, about the same as this. So this is similar to using milk. Don't think of milk as milk. Milk is water with some other stuff in it. So you got to remember that. Then you know you have the common sense to make this. So how much I'm going to make, I don't know. I took out 3 eggs because I know the amount of bananas I have probably will take at least 2, maybe 3 eggs. How much flour? I know in my mind how much flour. In common terms, I'd say roughly a cup of flour per egg. How much sugar? Sugar doesn't affect it as much as you might think. Sugar is considered in baking basically as a liquid. It's like, this is like ice. You know, I have ice in the freezer, it's water. If I heat this up, it melts like ice. When you mix it with other liquids, what happens to sugar? You put a teaspoon of sugar in an iced tea, what happens to it? It dissolves. It becomes liquid. So this is just liquid sugar in a solid state. So as you're mixing it, baking it, you have to think of it as a liquid. Not water, but liquid. So it will affect the moisture content, but not water. Like if you're making a yeast dough, it's going to be stickier. It won't hydrate more because there's no water in sugar. It just acts like a liquid. So much to learn here, huh? But this all comes into your common sense. So she also wanted, my wife, she wanted to put some oats in it. We only had steel cut oats. So steel cut oats, you can't just throw in like you would regular oats, rolled oats, because it's going to be hard even when it's, you know, in liquid and baked. So I took them and I boiled them for a minute, and I'm going to put some of that in. How much? I don't know again. So I've already taken the frozen bananas that I had and beat them up with a little lemon juice because they tend to discolor in the freezing process. But it's okay. I mean, we're putting brown sugar in, and we're going to even if you use, you know, just freshly ripe bananas, they're going to turn a little color anyway. So, all right, so I'm putting 2 more in, and I'd say, if you know, a cup is 8 ounces, half cup is 4 ounces. This is going to be maybe a half a cup, a little over half a cup. So these 2 are over a cup, and there might be 2 cups, 3 cups in there. I'm going to have 4 or 5 cups of bananas. All right, so I'm going to beat this up without making all noise. I'll take a break, and I'll have my producer, my daughter Katie, will cut it right here. We'll come back once these bananas are beat up. Okay, welcome back to Culinary Jazz. Chef Ken here, and we made these muffins from scratch without any recipe. Just put them together. We got they're banana, very, very heavy on banana. Banana cranberry and coconut, banana, coconut, and chocolate chip. Basically all from the same batter that we made. And they are extremely moist and delicious. You can see they look nice, they're moist, yet they're not tough. They crumble apart nicely, but very moist and delicious. I didn't try the chocolate chip yet, but they look good. Here's chocolate chip. Easy. You can do it. So again, these are just scrumptious, delicious. And while I got a French knife in my hand, the chef's knife, I'm going to remind you how to hold it. 2 fingers on the blade, 3 fingers around the blade. Hold it like this, right? And that way you'll never cut yourself, never turn on you, and have these fingers here against it like that. We'll have another lesson at that. I also have here a Polish that I made a week ago and just set it in the fridge to work. It's a pre-ferment. We went over it once before. It's a pre-ferment. It's just flour and water and a tiny, tiny pinch of yeast. And it's been a week in the fridge, just kind of bubbling away and making nice aromas and making nice flavors. So next we're going to turn this into bread. And not bread, we'll probably turn it into rolls. So it should help you learn how to shape some rolls and do different things with it. So I'll be back hopefully tomorrow and get that going for you. So for now, Chef Ken saying bye-bye.